Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today we all have gathered here to celebrate Ma Saraswati's birthday, which in some parts of India was celebrated on Wednesday the 29th, and in some temples it was celebrated on 30th. So Ma Saraswati, she is known as the deity of knowledge, music, technology, science, knowledge in any form or shape. And she was the daughter of Brahmaji. Today's the 30th is also known as the onset of spring. So in India, it is said that spring is starting now and we are giving away the winter feelings. So you have new crops that come up in March, but the Kesudo color, the yellow flowers, all that start blooming. Yellow and white are the two favorite colors of Ma Saraswati. So the way it is celebrated is people wear yellow and white colors. They make garlands of yellow and white flowers and offer to Ma Saraswati. And in Vraj temples, the area that's considered Vraj in India, that is like Mathura, Barsana, and the Gokul surrounding areas, they all start on this day, the 40 days of Holi. So if you have, we started here, you can offer him gulal, abil, kanku, and play with him. So these 40 days in our Pushti Marg, it's called Sakhya Bhav. That means you cover his feet and you don't think that you are his das or you are his sevak or servant. You think that he is your friend for these 40 days and you play with him holy. So in the temples, it already started on Thursday, where they start throwing the colors at God. They dress him up in white, abil gulal, and the orange powder. What is that orange powder called?
Orange powder? Sendu?
Gulal. We have kesar. Kumkum, white is the abil. And then
Haldi.
No, yellow. I have an orange, and I got gulal. Kumkum, abil, and gulal. So the gods are normally dressed in white, and then the color is offered. Their feet are covered, so we don't have the dasya bhav, which is the servant bhav, and we can play with him like a friend. So that all started on Basant Panchami. So Basant Panchami is called birthday of Saraswati Ma and the start of Vraj Holi. And the Rasya also begins in Vraj, all temples. So we'll sing some Rasya today. They're saying every day, and Rasya only happens in Vraj temples. Oh. So there's some special thing about Vraj that every day in Dwarkadish temple, Mathura, Gokul, and everywhere they sing special bhajans that are called Rasya. And that's normally around love between Krishna and Radha. That's mostly the meaning of all the Rasyas. Okay, so that was a little bit about Basant Panchami. The second thing that I have, and it is one of my favorite stories, it is called the story of Raja Bharat. It comes in 5th chapter of Bhagavatam. And this story is very helpful to people like us who are not really into, not like saints and that constantly live outside in a forest and meditate and don't have any disturbance. So this story is very useful for people like us. So this is from chapter 5. And once upon a time, there was a king named Nabi, Raja Nabi. And he had no children. He was very religious and a very good person. So he did lot of yagnas with the help of rishis, and he asked for a son. The one thing he asked everybody to do is, he said, rishis, ask from the yagna that I want a son, but I want son just like God. I don't want an ordinary son. So um, the rishis, yagna is like a fire built with lots of wood log, and then there is offering of ghee, and then there is offering of wheat, jaw, all that. And it is meant that the fire is mouth of God. So when you're offering the ghee to the fire that is built with the wooden logs, it is said that you are offering food to the devtas, so they actually are eating that food. And back then, when the yagna was done, the devtas came out of the fire and asked, okay, your yagna is done successfully, now what do you want from us? What do you want from me? So the rishis then asked that, we are doing yagna so Raja Nabi can have a son just like God. So when he said that, he said that is a very difficult blessing that you have asked for, because there is only one God and there is nobody like God. So God said, if you want me to be your son, then I have to come to in your home and take birth, because there is nobody like me. So Rishabdev then has Rishabdev, who came in as the son of Nabi, is an incarnation of Vishnu. He is one of the incarnations that is listed in Bhagavatam. And he then Rishabdev, who was having all the qualities of God, and they also had chinna, that you say, the things that you can find in God's feet, the chakra, gada, yeah. So he had a lot of that as well. And then he himself had 100 sons. Rishabdev himself had 100 sons. And his eldest son's name was Bharat, Raja Bharat. And Bharat was so religious and so powerful that at the age of 6, he was able to play with the lion cubs. He could play with the lions, he could play with the cubs, he could play with the tigers, and if they did not behave, he can even punish them. So he was that powerful at the age of 6. So very powerful king. He was also very knowledgeable, and he expanded, and he was the eldest one of 100 sons. So Rishabdev gave the kingdom to Bharat, Raja Bharat, and then he expanded to many different areas, and he did a great job ruling the kingdom, because he was very knowledgeable, he was very spiritual. So especially when the king is so spiritual, his followers, the normal people, general public, they also become that religious, and they start believing in the good and not think about other stuff. So Raja Bharat was very knowledgeable, and he was very spiritual. He did a lot of good for his country. He expanded very well, and in that way, it is written that he ruled for 1 billion years. 1 billion years. So he had many queens, he had many sons, and then he decided that it is my time now to give up the kingdom. And then he decided to do that because he knew his ultimate goal was to attain liberation, that is moksha, to get out of the cycle of life and death. And that's why he decided that if I am a king and if I am a family person, I'm getting entangled in all the activities, and I'm not able to do my activities as much as I want to, how much time I want to give to my activities. So that's why he decided to leave. He decided to leave his kingdom, he decided to leave his family, he decided to leave all the wealth he had, and he walked out with one pair of clothes and maybe shoes on his feet and decided to just leave everything. He said, it's my time now to go and find liberation for myself. So then he decided to go to ashram which is called Pulka Ashram. So Pulka Ashram was built by Muni Pulha, 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 and it is near the river Gandaki. So Gandaki river is right now in Nepal. So we are talking about past history where Gandaki river was probably in Hindustan or Bharat, what they called back then the region. So he was able to go there. So what is the beauty of river Gandaki and not any other river? Why did he just pick river Gandaki? So river Gandaki right now is in Nepal, and it's at a lot of height, and you can find any rock that you find in the river Gandaki has shaligram in it. Any rock you pick up and you break the rock, and there is a shaligram sign in it. And the Muni, that is a Pulha Muni, he had a boon that God will come and visit his devotees that live in that ashram. Even today, they say people who live in that ashram, God comes and visits them. So that's why he chose that ashram. And even today, you can on YouTube you can see Gandaki River, and they are showing how the rocks are even today. Where when you break every rock, there is shaligram in it. The shaligram puja that we do on Tulsi Viva, one of the forms. So that is the beauty of. There is a lot of other history to River Gandaki, and right now the river is in Nepal. And so Raja Bharat, he decided that he wanted to live in an ashram and he wanted to do all the seva, puja, everything. And he was doing it. He was keeping the ashram clean. He was cooking for himself. He was doing his daily activities like, first of all, he would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. He would he would stand in the river. He would stand in there till sun comes up. Then he would offer him water. That's your Surya Namaskar, that you say prayers for Surya Pujan. He was doing activities like yoga. He was doing all the yagnas. He was getting the sticks from the forest himself. He was doing that. He was doing meditation. He was doing Bhagavad Ji Puja, Sandhya Vandan, reading a lot, meditation, mantra jap, all those things. And he was enjoying it so much there that he was feeling the bliss. And he thought, I did the right thing. I left all my activities. I left all my attachment. And I did the right thing by coming here because I am moving. He was very clear about his goal, that I'm moving towards liberation and this is how I want to die. So he was very clear about that. So then one day he was just sitting. This is where the twist comes in the story. So one day he was sitting just sitting on the bank of river Gandaki. So a deer comes by from somewhere, and the deer is right. He's sitting on one bank, and the deer is right in front of the river, pregnant deer. And she comes to drink water. She's very thirsty. Now, all of a sudden, while she tries to drink water, she hears a lion roar. And she got so scared that the lion will eat me and eat my baby up because she was pregnant. She decided that if I go on the other side, maybe I'll be saved because the lion would. But because she was pregnant, she delivered the baby in water. And because of the pain of delivering a baby, as she was not able to move too much, she just moved a little bit, got into a cave, and died. The mother died. And while the mother was dying, she looked at the Bharatji because she only saw one living being there that she thought could take care of my baby. So she looked at him like, please take care of my baby. I'm leaving you now with my baby, the way her eyes were. And she died. So Bharatji was seeing all this, and he was just sitting there, and then the baby came right from the water, born new baby. Um, and when the baby came, the baby was right at his feet. So he said, well, should I take care of the baby or should I not take care of the baby? Then he thought, well, if the baby is coming to my feet, that is surrendered to me and at my mercy, it is my job to take care of a living being that's right in front of me. So he decided to do that, which was okay. So there's nothing wrong to keep somebody in your home, in your life. The problem is how he got attached. So then, this was normally a deer, so deer likes to jump. And then Bharatji was living in a jungle where there were a lot of lions, tigers, and other animals that can actually kill you. Bharatji was not affected by it because he was strong enough to fight them. But he was taking care of this baby. So when he was taking care of the baby, he kept the baby in his lap, which was okay, and he wanted to treat him like a baby, which was also fine. But then it was not matter of doing it because the baby needs to survive. It was because he started enjoying the baby. So when he started enjoying, he found that this is happiness. He was living alone, he had nobody, and he just got so happy that I found somebody to live with. So his happiness really got him into trouble. So then the baby, he had to get him the baby green grass. Then every time when Bharatji went to get sticks for the yagna, he had to take the baby around with him because he cannot leave the baby there alone. The lions and tigers used to come. So he used to take him everywhere. Then even with meditation, in meditation, when you do, you are only supposed to be concentrated in one thought or one God, one direction. He would open his eyes and want to check on the baby deer. So he was distracted. And little by little by little, he stopped all his activities. His yoga, he stopped yagna, puja, pujan, sandhya vandan. The Brahmins do sandhya vandan, which is the sandhya puja. So eventually everything was stopped, and he just always worried about the deer. Deer are of course more active than human, and they like to run around in the wilderness. So he would run after the baby. He would think the lion did, if he comes late, he would think the lion ate the baby up. He would wait for him. He would cry for the baby. And then he starts thinking, why did I leave my kingdom? Did I leave my kingdom to take care of the baby? Or did I leave my kingdom so I can meditate and I can attain God? Okay, I can attain liberation. So then we always have an inside voice, all of us do. That sometimes when you're doing something, I wouldn't say wrong, but inappropriate, improper, there's something that tells you from inside, this is wrong, stop, this is wrong, this is stop. So his soul was telling him, why did you come here? For this baby? No, you did not come here for the baby. You are getting too much attached, and this attachment is not good for you. But he could not stop. He was attached. So then he started thinking that I'm doing good for a living being. I'm taking care of somebody. That is a good thing. So that was his justification for getting attached. So it's said that you keep everybody in your house, but who you keep in your heart or in your man or state of mind is really what matters. So you could have 10 people in your house, but they don't need to live in you. They can live in the house just fine, and you can act according to your duties, your responsibilities, but you don't get attached where you forget your goal. So one day, it was then his time came to die. So he was living alone. He was on the deathbed. And also at the same time, the deer left, and he did not come back that evening. And that really took a toll on his heart. He got like a shock, mental shock, where he just lost him and somebody killed him. And that shock, that mental shock of that loss, put him on a deathbed. So then the deer, finally, he comes after a week or so and he sees Bharatji laying on the deathbed. So the baby knows that now my caretaker is dying. So he comes and he just sits in front of him. So Bharatji was so happy to see him, and he barely opened his eyes. He was so happy to see the baby, and he said, "Okay, my good son came back to see me and take care of me." And while he was dying, he thought of that one incident, how the mom gave the baby to him. And when he was thinking that, he left his body. So we think about having pets, and you constantly thinking, did I feed the pet? Did the pet get sick? That is one more attachment that that you're committing to, because they're still living beings and they have their needs. Okay, so what happened is he leaves. Then, as soon as his soul leaves, he enters the womb of a deer. And as soon as he enters the womb of a deer, he realizes, I am in the womb of a deer. So here the question comes, what happened about all the bhakti that he did for billion years? He did many satsangs, he did many bhajan, many kirtan, dhun, spiritual activities, organizing things as a king so that people would get encouraged and do stuff. So what happened about all that? Did that all go in waste and he just got born as a deer? So the answer was no. The bhakti, satsang, all that never goes to waste. What happened is, even though he was born as a deer, he had all the remembrance what I was. And it is said that ante mati sogati. In our Sanskrit or Hindi, it is said this sentence, ante mati sogati. Ant means at the end, mati means interest. Sogati. So whatever our interest is at that end point of dying, whether it's the money in the locker, or there's your job, your kids, your spouse, whatever, car, that's how you get born as. And that's why in Sanatan Dharma, the puja of Murti is given so much importance, that when you are leaving your body, if you can even think of a Murti or a deity that you worshipped all your life long, it will come in front of you. If other things come in front of you, are back in the same cycle. So that's why for Bhakt, it is said that when Bhakts are dying, you bring a Bhakt in front of them, don't bring family members. Because what you see is what you think. That's our natural behavior as a human. What you see is what you think. And that's why Murti Puja is given so much importance. And if you don't do Murti Puja, a lot of different things can come in front of your eyes. Like if you were into shopping yesterday and all of a sudden you had a car accident, your head was right there. You were looking for some sale, some coupons, some Big Friday, Black Friday things. So it is okay to do all that, but coming out, what here happened is he was not able to come out of the attachment of the deer. And he had many sons, he had grandkids, he had huge family. He left all of that. So he was able to detach, but he got attached again. So they're saying you should do everything, but at the same time, who you keep in your heart is very important. So yes, our bhakti does not go in vain, and the benefit of it is in next birth, you do remember that I was doing this, and I was doing bhakti, and what is my ultimate goal. So here Bharatji then regrets and he starts crying. When he's born, he cries, and the mother, of course the mother is a deer, and she doesn't understand why the baby is crying. The baby is crying because he remembers that in my previous birth, my goal was to attain liberation, to attain God, and now I'm deer, and I'm stuck in this body now. And he was exactly that many days in a deer body, as long as that many days he loved the baby deer. So in his previous birth, however many years you spend with the deer loving him, that's the same number of years of life he got the body of a deer. And he stays away from the deers because he said, well, I got attached with one deer. Here there is a huge family of deers. If I get attached again, I'm going to be born again as a deer. So he stays away from his mom. His mom is trying to feed him, but he doesn't even feed from his mom, and he just stays alone. And even being a deer, the good thing about it he did was, even being a deer, he does Ekadashi. So he knows the importance of Ekadashi. So he knows that if I pluck a fruit from a tree, I am probably killing some living insects or something that I can't see. So he decides to do Ekadashi, but eat what is on the floor that is given away by the tree. So he sits down there. He remembered the mantra that he used to say. He sits under a tree away from everybody and he does Ekadashi. He goes back to Gandaki river where he knew where my ashram was in my previous birth. So he goes back there and he realizes everything, all this ashram I was living in and what my goal was. So he cries that it was a terrible mistake and Maya really got me. This was obviously Maya of our God that was trying to test him. How much can you get attached? So he did the mantras and slokas even being in the deer family. Then he decided that I want to give myself up. And then one time he was just standing in the water and half his body was in the water and half was above. He was saying sloks and he gave his body up. So he died. So when he was saying the sloks, he died. His another birth is Brahmin. He became a Brahmin. So he was then born into Brahmin family. So when he was born in the Brahmin family, he cries again. He's like, I'm in another body again. And at that time, he got really scared of getting attached to anyone. He did not even like that his mom hugged him, that his father tried to love him as a baby. He did not like any of that, and he started staying away. He stayed away in a corner. He didn't laugh, he didn't cry. He just didn't want to get attached with anybody. And because they were from the Brahmin family, the parents tried to teach him Gayatri mantra and certain other sloks so he can live a living, like do the puja and all that, and he gets paid for it. But he acted like Jad Bharat. So that's when he was given a name, Jad Bharat. And Jad means dull, or a person who cannot talk, or very foolish. So he acted like he didn't have sound. He could speak, but he acted in front of his parents, in front of his friends, family members, that he cannot talk. And at the same time, he was just trying to chant. So when he didn't talk with anybody, what he was doing internally was chanting, because he knew the importance of the mantras and the chanting. He knew everything. He had all the memory. So nobody needed to teach him anything. He was very knowledgeable, even like he was a child. So then one time his parents died, both his parents that really cared for him. They both died in the house, the mom and the dad. So then he said, well, that's good that they left. There were only two people who really cared for me. He had brothers and sister-in-laws, but nobody cared for him. And they all thought he was crazy, cannot talk. So when they left, the brothers really did not treat him well. So then he decided to leave home, that I cannot stay here anymore. I have people not in the family don't like me. They don't want to be around me. So I just want to leave home. So when Jad Bharat left the home, he said, now I'm just going to move around and wherever God takes me. When he made me king, I was a king. When he made me a deer, I enjoyed as a deer. Now I am as a Brahmin, and wherever he takes me, I will go. So he used to beg for food and just take a bath in the river, and his clothes were also pretty much torn up, and his hair, as he didn't wash it, it was like a big jata, so he looked like some crazy person moving around. So at that time, one of the king, he was actually doing bali to Ma Bhadrakali, Ma Bhagavati. So at that time, when they were doing the bali, in bali you offer them some living being. So they were going to offer some animal, and the animal ran away, and they found this guy, and they found that no, he cannot fight for himself, and we can just take him and offer him to Ma Bhadrakali. So they gave him good clothes, they fed him really well, they gave him bath and got him all pretty. He didn't know what they were doing with him. And then they took him in front of Ma Bhadrakali. So when he went in front of Ma Bhadrakali realized, this is my bhakt. And they are trying to cut his head. And the beautiful thing here is the Shraddha, faith. Shraddha means faith. Faith of Jad Bharat into God was so much that when they were ready to cut his head, he could move from his position back, forth, run away. He didn't do any of that. He was still, because he knew that whatever my God is doing for me is for my best. That kind of faith he had in God. So Ma Bhadrakali came out of the statue. She killed everybody who was trying to cut him. And then she went back into the murti. But she actually did come. Ma Bhadrakali came outside and she killed everybody. So he was, Jad Bharat again was free. So then he started moving around again. Then he came across another king who was also going that way, and his name was Raghugar, and he was from Sindhu Sarovar Desh. So he was going to Kapil Muni to get some knowledge of liberation, of spirituality. That's what he was headed to. And he had 4 servants who were holding his palki. So palki is like a chair that has 4 for the kids, that it has 4 legs at the bottom, and 4 people carry the chair, so the king does not have to walk. So out of the 4 people, 1 person got really sick. So they saw Jad Bharat roaming around, and they thought this would be perfect person. He looks very healthy, and maybe he's not going to refuse. So then he said, come on, let's go. This is the king that you're holding the palki for. So he said, okay. So Jad Bharat then joined the servants to hold the palki, that is the chair, the sedan chair. And when he joined that people, the 3 servants were walking at one pace. And Jad Bharat would not walk at their pace. He would jump, and then all of a sudden he would start crying, all of a sudden he would start laughing. So the king actually bumped his head a couple of times, and then he got really angry. Who is doing this to me? Why can't you guys walk straight? So then the servant said, with this new person that we picked up from the road, he cannot walk straight, he's just jumping. So then the king said, then king came out and he's like, what is your problem? Why can you not walk straight? So he said, I cannot walk straight because I don't want to kill anybody under my feet. There are ants, there are worms that I see, so I jump over them. And he told the king that how can you be so selfish that you want me to walk on all those lives and kill them, and you still want to sit in that chair? So the king said, okay, well, at least try to walk straight. So he went back again in the palki. So then this same incident happened again. So that really made the king actually very mad. The king's name was Raghugan. And then the king said, what is really wrong with you? Are you really tired? You don't want to do this job? Um, and then at that time was the first time Jad Bharat actually talked in his life. And he talked because there was a reason behind it. He thought that if I don't talk, I'm carrying somebody and I'm not giving him the benefit of satsang. Satsang is really when you meet some Sat Purush, some Sant, and have one on one interaction, that is satsang. So he said, he thought about the king and he thought that if I don't give him any updesh, any kind of guidelines, then it is going to be shameful on satsang that he did not benefit from me. Lesson. So that's why he said, I'm going to speak today. So that was the first time he spoke. And then he said, listen, king, you are the most foolish one. I am not. I am not tired. The palki is on my shoulder. The shoulder is attached to my body. Then my body, my waist is attached to my feet, and my legs and my legs are attached to my feet. And all of this can get tired, but I am not tired. So then Raghugan says, okay, I don't really think you are crazy. You look like some saint. And then he said, oh, then he saw the Janoi that Brahmins were, and he's like, okay, I think you are a Brahmin, and I don't want to punish you because I'm very much afraid of punishing a Brahmin that can ruin somebody's lives and sudden births with punishing a Brahmin, and I don't want to insult you. So he said, you're not crazy. You're just acting like one. You know a lot. And then, so Raghugan justify himself. He said, okay, for example, if you get a pot, if you get a water in there, then if you put a rice in there, with the vessel heating up, the water heating up, and the rice heating up, the rice cooks. Similarly, if this body is our utensil, and all our blood inside is like water, and our soul is rice, it will get tired. If the body gets tired, the soul will get tired. So Bharatji said, no, police, that is so wrong. The right thing is, take a pot, take water, heat it up, put some rice, and put a rock in there. Do you think that vessel, the water, and the heat can cook that rock? And he said, no. He said, our soul is different from the material of the body. So the body can get tired, but soul can never get tired. And the definition of tiredness is different for all of us. We all have different capacity. So he said the weight definition is also different. And I don't think any of this is real. You think I'm crazy, but I think you are crazy. You think everything is real. Nothing is real around you. Tomorrow somebody will kill you. You will not be here. The servants may not be here. This palki that you are sitting in, it can get all toned up. So all of this stuff is perishable. So what you are knowing is the knowledge of external world or materialistic world, that material can be destroyed. So then Raghugan got really started respecting him, and at the same time he got all the knowledge that he wanted to get about spirituality, liberation, and he did not go back to Kapil Muni. He went back to his palace and he got all the knowledge from Jad Bharat. Then Jad Bharat gives a beautiful knowledge about Bhavatvi. Bhavatvi is actually called Sansar One. One means jungle. Sansar means social jungle. So we are in a social jungle. And the way we are said that we are in a jungle is because how animals in a jungle, how they struggle for survival, our state of mind also survives, because today your head is into shopping for some jewelry, some diamond. Your head is there, your head is racing. You're looking online, you're looking on Amazon, you're looking on eBay, you're going to Walmart, you do all these things. And then tomorrow, even if you find the product today, you might want to get up tomorrow and say, oh, well, maybe I can find a better price somewhere else. So you start doing that, and that can go on. So at that same time, that materialistic thing, whether it's a refrigerator or whatever, it pulled you in that direction. If you notice where your mind is, it will still be in that if you haven't put a full stop. So having a home is fine, but they say ki you should be living in a home. The home should not be living in you. So if I go to office and if I'm still thinking about the home, then I cannot work at my office. I got to think about my office when I'm in my office. So similarly, when you're in front of God, if you are thinking about everything else, you are not there. You're physically sitting, but mentally somewhere else. So he describes it's a very, very long lesson or preaching that he gave, but the one comparison he did was that our state of mind is just like Bhavatvi, which is Sansar 1, that is compared to jungle of animals, how they are pulled in different directions for getting a prey. Like the other day I saw a giraffe was being attacked. So the tigers were pulling the giraffe in one direction, the lions were pulling him in another direction, and it was a huge giraffe. But how everybody's pulling you in different directions, if you think how your state of mind is pulling you. One day my child told me something bad, I felt bad the whole day. Next day my spouse told me something bad, so I was angry all day. The day before my mom told me something wrong and I didn't think it was right, so I got into argument. The second day, my boss was nice to me and I was happy. So our state of mind that goes up and down is compared to a jungle, living in a jungle. So it's not steady. So this is the lesson Updesh preaching that Jad Bharat gave to Raja Raghuvan. And what we learn from this is how important it is where our state of mind actually resides. And doing all this today, what we are doing, of course, satsang, all the satsang that we have here have a goal. You learn something from all the stories. And here, why it's so important for us, because it relates to people like us who live family life and where your state of mind is. So one is to check that, and if you go too much far into it, you should come back. Okay, well, I spent enough time, I spent a week on vacation, now I don't need to think about that place, I don't need to think what I bought from that place, and I don't need to think what I'm going to do next year. It's done. So you come back to your daily practice. And satsang is actually, as my Gurudev says, satsang is not for other people. You tell your own self and you watch your own self where you are going mentally, and you bring yourself back to your original source. So satsang really helps one to get direction back to what your original purpose should be. And we should never lose our eyesight on our ultimate goal. Here, Raja Bharat, he lost his eyesight, he lost his goal. That's why he got into this cycle of deer and then human again, because he forgot the goal that why he was there in the jungle after living so much. So that was my nice story. It's very dear and near to me. It's said in Bhagavad Gita, people who listen to this story, people who talk about this story, all their wishes are fulfilled. After every story that I say, like last time I was saying about an elephant, Gajraj. Gajendra, and it was said, person who talks about this story, who listens to this story, and who does the stuti, for them God promises, I will come and get you at the end when you are dying. I will come in front of you. My picture will come, my murti will come, I will come to get you. So when I read Bhagavad Gita, uh, I feel so good that there is it does say there is a benefit of reading and telling it to other people. So that's the benefit of today's story, and how. And if Jad Bharat can lose, he was so knowledgeable. He knew all the Vedic books and everything. He was so if he can get lost from his and deviated from his goal and distracted, people like us can definitely do. And if you watch, it happens like one day it's this, one day it's that, one day it's that, and your days are just passing by. And the God of death does not have mercy on you. You didn't finish your work, so I'm not going to get you. When it's your time to go, it's your time to go. So that if we keep this principle in our head every single day, it eventually cuts down distraction, and you get calm and quiet, and uh, you look more towards inside than outside. Okay, guys, questions. I did not write anything on the board today. Okay. Mahi, you ready for questions? Okay. So we talked about Basant Panchami first thing. So tell me, guys, what kind of colors do you wear on Basant Panchami?
Yellow and white.
Yellow and white. Good. And Ma Saraswati ji is goddess of knowledge. She's daughter of Brahma ji. She's very beautiful. She's also in form of water. And when Saraswati comes to you, all the knowledge you need of the universe, the world, up, down, patal, everything you can get. If she is really blessed on you, you can get very intelligent. Okay, and the time in Vraj, the Holi begins when? The 40 days of Holi begin at? When does it begin? 40 days. From? Mm-hmm. You guys really present? It's too much to grasp.
Why Saligram found in Gandki River?
I don't know that. I know it's found. I don't know why it's found.
Because God was cursed by Vrunda.
Mm-hmm.
He became a stone.
Mm-hmm.
So he was laying there as a stone.
Yeah, and he said, you grow next to me and I'll be flowing in the river. So Tulsi ji is always near Gandaki river. Okay, so Raja Bharat ruled for how many years before he went to take sannyas? So earlier he was in Grahast ashram. Grahast means family life, and sannyas means a life of a saint where you have no attachments with anybody and you are just into God. So how many years did he stay in his kingdom ruling? 1 billion. Yes. And today's name of our country, people say it's India, but the real name is Bharat. Bharat
What was
Varsh.
the reason he had 100 children?
Because he lived for he lived very
No.
long.
The reason God wanted to create a Srushti, the big earth with lots of people, right? He started with Brahma, then Sanat Kumar, then they created more people, then more people. So back then they were having so many kids. They wanted to, Manu and Satrupa started a Shrushti. And they wanted more and more people, right? How you multiply people? You have more kids, then they have more kids.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they had hundreds of kids back then.
Okay,
Now we cannot do
so
it.
before it was called Bharat, the name of name of our country was Ajnab. But because Bharat king was so powerful and spiritual, the name of the country changed from Ajnab to Bharat. Today's name of India, officially it might be India, but it is still Bharat. So based on his name of Bharat, India got the name of Bharat. Okay, so he got attached with the deer and all that, and then when he was a deer, did he? How did he do Ekadashi when Bharatji was a deer?
He ate off of the forest
Mm-hmm.
instead of
He
taking
believed in Ekadashi and he was doing the mantra jap. So his next birth was a Brahmin because he was very careful, not attaching with anybody and doing all the activities, even being a deer. So just having that awareness in our head all the time, that helps us live everyday life on where our state of mind should be. And you guys have any questions? No? Okay. So this concludes our satsang today. And today we had two topics. One was Basant Panchami, which started on Thursday, and the story of Raja Bharat, where India got its name, Bharat Desh. And that concludes our satsang. And now we'll do some sloks and arti and bhajan
Why God created Saraswati Ma?
for knowledge.
The first Shrushti he created was bunch of Daitya, and they had no way knowing how
Jai
to
Shri Krishna.
live and this and they